Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Something that came out on Monday, because John Calipari did kind of his first press conference that he's basically done since he took that Arkansas job back in whatever it was, early April. So summer workouts are finishing across the country. I mean, it's really, I said it a few days ago, but August really is kind of the slowest time in all of college hoops. Players are off campus, coaches, it's the only vacation they kind of get because it comes after summer workouts where, remember, you get 8 weeks, 4 hours a week to work out your players. So Arkansas just finished their workouts over the weekend, and John Calipari did a press conference kind of talking about this 2024-2025 team, his first team at Arkansas. And let me just say this, thought there were a lot of interesting things that were actually said. And two, I can tell you this, I've been watching Calipari press conferences for a very long time. And I am here to tell you that man right there, oh, he really likes his team. So first off, let me give Calipari credit for this, okay? Listen, we know how press conferences work. You don't really reveal that much. One of the reporters, I believe it was Kevin McPherson, longtime guy who's covered the beat forever. Kevin McPherson was like, can you give me just a little breakdown of the guys and who looked good and who didn't? And Cal kind of went player by player and gave an honest evaluation of where those guys are at this point in the summer. Couple things that stood out. First of all, Trevin Brazil is a player that was a holdover, I guess. Calipari doesn't like calling him a holdover. Basically, Calipari assumed that he was leaving. He re-recruited him. He decides to come back. But he was a player who was playing really well 2 seasons ago, goes down with a knee injury, comes back, and was really inconsistent this past year. Well, Cal was like, dude, that guy is way better than I thought he was. 6'10", can handle the ball, can do whatever. Mentioned that Boogie Flan, much better than he thought that he was. Mentioned that Adu Thiero has been playing really well. So one, I thought gave very honest evaluations of all his players. As somebody in the media, I always appreciate when a coach kind of gives you more than you're expecting. And so he did that there. Two, I thought it was interesting because he really kind of broke down the idea of what he believes summer is. Now, I know for Kentucky fans, and I'm sure there's a few in the chat right now, they're going to yell and scream and say, Cal wastes the summer and he doesn't do much. But he basically said, like, look, a lot of coaches like to put in plays and run sets and do whatever. He goes, our goal is to just make you the best player that you can over the summer so you come back knowing what your potential is, and then we put the team together. Let's get the best out of you that we possibly can, and then we're going to figure it all out when you get back in the fall. Again, know a lot of Kentucky fans don't like that. I thought it was a very interesting approach, and he talked a lot about that. Gave honest feedback about the guys in that program. Said, again, Trevin Brazil, I love him. I don't want him standing outside shooting threes. He's 6'11". He can dunk over anybody. He needs to be at the rim, making plays at the rim. I thought it was interesting. Already seeing pushback from the Big Blue community because he said that he doesn't want Big Z shooting threes in the summer. He said, I know you can do that, but the bottom line is it's great that you can do that, but if you can't make a 5-foot floater in the lane, if you can't hit an elbow jumper, I don't want you shooting 25 feet away. I need you to be able to make sure you can make 8 feet in before you're worried about shooting threes. So thought that was interesting, that it's not really about having everything figured out right now. It's about the individuals being better and coming together. In my opinion, it also now makes a lot more sense. I had never really thought about it, about why Cal's teams generally get better as the season goes on. Now, I know what a Kentucky fan will say. We lost the first weekend in the tournament. He's terrible. I hate his guts. He's the worst ever. Okay, cool. But would you not argue that the team was pretty good down the stretch? Because I remember watching final game of the regular season at Tennessee. Tennessee was the SEC regular season champs. Kentucky won at Tennessee. I remember in February, they played at Auburn. Auburn was the SEC tournament champs. Kentucky ended up winning at Auburn. I remember Kentucky playing Alabama. Alabama ended up in the Final Four. Kentucky ran them out of the gym. So the team was clearly better down the stretch. It did not work out well in March. Cal needs to be held accountable for it. I said at the time, he's not living up to the standard of Kentucky basketball, but you also can't deny he had you in position. And so I found it interesting that he's like, this summer is not what you think it's about. It's about getting all these guys the best version of themselves. But what I'll also say, and I think this is important, in my opinion, I have been watching Calipari press conferences now. I've been watching Calipari press conferences for a long time, probably like closing in on 15 years at this point. And by the way, I just went on social media and saw a Kentucky article complaining about how they're using Big Z already. It's practice. Chill out. But I bring it up because I've been watching Calipari press conferences a long time. And it is very clear to me that he is very confident in the team. And I think that he should be. First off, when that final 9 came together, I thought it was very interesting. I said it at the time. I said, I think that's the best 9-man roster in all of college basketball. I haven't backed down from that. Alabama's deeper. Kansas might be a little bit deeper. UConn might be a little bit deeper. But 1 through 9, that's a darn good team. The 3 transfers that he brought from Kentucky, DJ Wagner, Adu Thiero, and Big Z. The 3 freshmen that he brought in, Boogie Fland, Carter Knox, and Billy Richmond. And also the 2 transfers, really 3 if you can include Brazil, who was there, entered the portal and came back, Nelly Davis from FAU, and Jonas Adu. And I was thinking about this as we start to wrap the show. We'll talk TBT here in a minute. But I was thinking about this. This is an interesting thought to me. And again, it speaks to, I think he really, really likes this team. But I was thinking about this, is he's gotten all this criticism, especially over the last couple of years because of the freshmen. Too many freshmen, sports changing, whatever. This has to be the first year outside of 21-22. And if you remember, that season, there was no on-the-road high school recruiting the year before, so everybody went portal heavy in 21-22. That was the year Kentucky had Oscar Tshiebwe, Kellen Grady, etc. But this has to be the first year that I don't think John Calipari is going to be relying on freshmen in a big way to make a major contribution. Now, if Carter Knox is awesome, that's great. If Boogie Fland is awesome, that's great. But the counter to that is that if you look at that roster, the best players on that team are experienced, and the best players on that team have NCAA tournament experience. If I had to guess right now, in some order, who are going to be the top 4 scorers on that team for Arkansas, probably play the 4 biggest minutes. 1's going to be Nelly Davis. 2's going to be Jonas Adu. 3's going to be Adu Thiero. 4 is going to be DJ Wagner. What do all 4 of those guys have in common? Well, Nelly Davis, he's experienced. Made a Final Four at Florida Atlantic a few years ago, was a star on that team. I think he's going to be Arkansas's best player. Jonas Adu, he was the only guy Cal didn't really talk about. Cal was like, dude, he was an all-SEC guy. You all know how good he is. But that's now going into his 4th year of college basketball. Made an Elite 8 this year. Isn't going to be intimidated on that big stage in the NCAA tournament. Beyond that, Adu Thiero, 3rd year in college basketball, played in 2 NCAA tournaments. I think he is going to be a star for that team. Coach Cal said, look, he's starting to look like his dad who played for me a million years ago. And then also DJ Wagner. I think, DJ Wagner to me, I've said it a million times this summer, I think is one of the most underappreciated and undervalued players in all of college basketball. What did I just say a minute ago? Kentucky was really good late in the season. They were also really good at the beginning of the season. You know the part that they struggled? It wasn't when you think it was. It wasn't that Calipari stinks. It wasn't this. It was when DJ Wagner got hurt. That was when they went on the 3-game losing streak at home. Lose to Florida at home, no DJ Wagner. Lose to Tennessee at home, no DJ Wagner. Lose to Gonzaga at home, DJ Wagner comes back but barely plays. This kid, if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be really good. And as I said, it seemed pretty clear to me that John Calipari likes this team. Listen, we got a lot of football to talk about over the next 4 or 5 months. I think this is going to be as entertaining a basketball season as we've had in some time. There is a lot of talent at the top of the sport. Alabama, UConn, Kansas. I think Kentucky's going to be better than people think. The Big 12 is loaded. Houston, Iowa State, Baylor, Arizona now in the Big 12. But I'm fascinated for these SEC wars. And I think Arkansas behind Alabama is as good as anybody in the conference.